So thanks everyone for sharing how you've been doing. I can appreciate that the recent flooding has been really difficult for you and impacted you and your families. And I'm really glad to hear that some of you are finding a lot of meaning in your work right now. But I can also appreciate if it's feeling really challenging to provide support to others. So I think I have some ideas about how we can use our time today during the session, but I'd really like to hear from you about what feels most important to talk about. And so, Andreas, I know that you're having difficult times with your audio at the moment, so feel free to use the chat box for this next bit, and we'll keep our eye on that. But I think a first question is, does anyone have any urgent or high-risk cases that feel important to discuss today?
No.
Andreas, no, okay. Andreas, you do? Okay, so I see now in the chat box. Okay, so you've got a situation that could potentially be high risk. Great. So we can start off with that today. If you're comfortable just providing a summary of what's going on in the chat box, and we'll kind of use that. And so, Nick, you're okay? Nothing urgent or high risk for
Nothing
yours?
from me.
Okay, great. So in addition to Andreas's potentially high risk case, is there anything that you feel is particularly important for us to focus our time on today?
Yeah, I have something. Been providing a lot of PFA. It's been pretty rough. I'm a little worried because I'm not sure if I'm quite doing it right because people are really distressed, and it's a lot more than what I'm used to. Um, I'm not quite sure if I'm doing PFA correct or how I should be supporting them. Could we talk a bit about this during our session today?
Yeah, absolutely. Trine, it looks like we may have lost you. Are you still here with us?
Yeah, sorry, I'm having some connection issues. And actually, I had the same question as Josh. I'm really struggling with this. I feel like I'm doing it incorrectly. I've also noticed that sometimes I start to feel really upset when people are telling me their problems because it's so similar to like what me and my family are going through.
Okay. Also, thank you, Josh and Trine. That sounds like a really important topic for us to discuss today. It can be really challenging to provide support when we ourselves are impacted by the same event. So I think maybe something that we could do today is perhaps do a role play and a discussion to support around this. Does that sound okay? Yeah, and it looks like we may have lost Trine again. Hopefully she's able to rejoin. Looks like she's back there. Trina, do we have you now?
Yes, I'm back. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Yeah. And so I just asked the group if they're comfortable, if maybe we do a bit of a role play around PFA and providing support to people who are impacted by similar issues as us. Does that sound okay to you?
Yeah.
Okay, great. And on that topic, it sounds like maybe checking in with our own well-being and discussing that a bit might be useful to the group. What do you think? Does that feel like a topic that's important to you today?
Yeah, I think that'll be really helpful for me. I think I've been feeling quite similar to Trina in that I just find myself getting really upset when working with those who've been impacted by the floods. I've been doing group PFA sessions, and it's just, yeah, I think I find myself getting completely overwhelmed. And I get home at the end of the day and kind of just feel like I need to close myself off in my room on my own, really. And that obviously upsets my wife and my kids because I don't get to really spend time with them, and I just can't really.
Yeah, okay. So it does sound like a topic that would be important for us to explore. And thank you, Nick, for sharing how it's impacting you personally. And I see Andreas, he posted there in the chat as well that he'd really like to also talk about well-being. So it sounds like a good idea for us, and a great suggestion, Andreas. Maybe we can do a relaxation exercise before we go as well. I think that's a great idea, and I see some head nods. Um, okay, so it sounds like we've got a pretty good plan here. We'll do the high risk check-in with Andreas, do a bit of discussion and role play around using PFA to support those who are being impacted by the floods, and then also explore our own well-being during this time, which is really important. And I think perhaps we can also take a moment to explore the supports that exist within our organization that might also be available to you. And then ending with Andreas's suggestion about doing a relaxation activity. I think that sounds like a really lovely sort of agenda for the day. Is there anything else that feels important for us to explore during our time together?
No, not from me.
Nothing for me either, I don't think.
Okay. Trina, we don't see you. Is there anything else you wanted to for us to explore today, or does it sound okay?
Sounds okay to me.
Perfect. Okay. So this sounds like a really great plan for the session today. And Andreas, if you're comfortable, we can go ahead and get started. If you'd like to put your description of the case that you're thinking is potentially high risk, and then we can go from there.